just like that, we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to session 1 of the new campaign, Usapait, 5th edition, Dungeons and Dragons. I'm sending out a couple things just to let everyone kind of understand what's going on, let everyone filter in that wants to. And so right now we are chilling, and we'll go through a couple general things. My name is Jacob, or JC, and I will be the Dungeon Master for the foreseeable future. If you are coming in, welcome to the stream, and I hope that you all have a wonderful time. And if you do enjoy your time, don't forget to follow the stream, and I'll be letting you know where this campaign is getting posted after the fact, so that you guys can rewatch anything that you miss. Other than that, I am joined here tonight by 4 wonderful people, and we're going to start up here on on my left. James, a returning member from our Pathlios campaign. James, it's good to have you here. Hope you're ready to join, and we'll get into your character in a little bit. Down on my other left, joining us, returning from Pathlios as well, we have lovely Jasmine. Welcome back, Jazz.
Thank you.
Up to my top right, we have a returning as well. Helminia coming back from Pathlios. It's good to get to roll some dice at you aggressively again.
War never changes.
Oh, trust me, that's gonna mean so much more. And finally, although we will have more players joining us in future sessions, our final player for tonight is actually a new person that is going to be subjected to my twisted idea of what role-playing games are. And these people, for some reason, are coming back. I have no idea why. But Cody, welcome to the stream, and welcome to the game.
It's good to be here. I hope you take it easy on me and don't punish me below.
I told Cody before the game that I was going to try to kill him as fast as possible. So we'll see what we've got. We've got plenty of stuff ready to go. I wanted to see if I even still had some things going, but we do. We're all ready and raring to go. Let me know, just because it's been a while since I've been on Twitch, if the sound is good and level. But I'm happy to get this going. The next statement I'll be saying, some of you might have some objections to. I would like to remind you that history is written by those wielding the pen and writing along the scrolls. As such, we are picking up after the month of fire that occurred in Pathlios, where, to your character's knowledge, some kind of massive attempt at usurping the throne happened that left a massive war broken out in the neighboring nation of Pathlios. Many people died, and as such, Usapait gracefully opened up ports of trade, or attempted to open ports of trade to assist their neighboring nation of Pathlios in recovery. When the oceans turned treacherous, monsters were reported, and many ships went down without a trace. As such, many ports decided to issue a a stay at dock order where only people who basically signed off on themselves and were daring privateers sailed directly between the nations of Paphlios and Usapait. Others decided to take the long and safer way around the other side of the world. As such, trade between nations, as of the current moment, is greatly reduced. However, with the new port options opened up between the recovering city of Shackleforth and Kendra that were available as port options in Paphlios, the import of arcane materials such as brimstone and other powerful materials came over and vitalized the arcane economy of Usapait. As such, in order to protect the people at large of Usapait, the northern region issued a restriction on arcane properties. As such, general citizens of the north and generally of the central region need to procure licenses to prove that they can safely operate their arcane prowess. However, as it is even for many people, low-level arcane tools are becoming more widely available. And as such, the average citizen has the ability to be more productive and also more dangerous than ever. The city, the nation that we are focusing on, rather than Paphlios, is the Elven-dominated nation of Usapait, divided into 3 regions. The northern region, mostly seen by high elves and pure fey-blooded creatures, a spot of glamour and high skill. It is generally seen as the face of the nation. The central region, dominated by forests and mountains, generally home to wood elves and other half-breeds of Fae. These people are sturdy, more tribalistic, and proud. And then finally, the southern region of Usapait, where most cities go underground. The dark elves find their dwellings here, and though they are seen by many people as the most tribalistic and barbaric, as their cold methods are often scrutinized, they are still powerful through their housing clans that thrive under the earth. However, we are focusing rather than on one of the nations, on one of the cities. Specifically, Alinar Orin is the city we're finding ourselves in today. This city is on the border between the northern and central region of Usapait. Originally 2 cities that have been melded together. Alinar Orin is now the main point where people are able to basically move through the border, as many other sections of the north and central region are seen as dangerous, and all pathways lead to Alinar Orin. Most people attempt to make their way through the city quickly, either going upwards to the north for a more glamorous life, or down into the central region, as some people disagree with the laws that the northern capital places upon its citizens. However, here we are going to zoom in on our first of many people. We find ourselves zooming in to a inn in a little bit nicer section of the town, the northern region. We go into an inn and further into a room that has been lived in for a while. This has become crossed over from the point where someone is staying for a couple days and more of someone who has been here for several weeks. They have established things. There's trash that has been cleaned up now as this person seems to be preparing to leave. You see this person with pale skin, elven ears, and blonde hair that is going about shoulder length. You've been here for a while, and with your newly acquired paperwork and newly acquired spirits, you figure today is the first day you can take a deep breath and start to make your way back home. James, would you like to introduce your character?
Absolutely. I am playing Glaeren Wraithran. I'll be, playing a paladin, a high elf paladin. And I suppose that once he's all packed up, he'll head downstairs and go get some breakfast before heading out of town.
And generally, what are the things that you are packing up? What has been, if you're able to, what has been keeping your presence here in Alinar Oren when most people have very little interest in staying here? What has compelled you, and what have you been able to pull away from this place?
While packing up, he will rest a holy symbol around his neck, looking nearly brand new, as well as tucking away a scroll of pedigree and a license that will allow him to do basic and healing magic, which took him forever to obtain.
The amount of people you had to talk to, approval you had to get, and money that had to exchange hands was not insignificant. But with your connections that you were able to do and your title that you were able to throw around to get you in the door in the first place, you have gotten what you need and are ready to move. With that, you throw your bag over your shoulder and begin to make your way downstairs to get something to eat before you get to leave this city behind for good. The area below is a little bit sparse. It's very nice looking. Polished wooden floors, a fire that has a large pot set over it, noted for decoration as everything here is freshly prepared in the morning. But your breakfast, which is supplied with your room fee, is brought to you a choice of breads, meats, and fruits. You look around and think to yourself about how busy this place was recently. As you recall, a couple weeks ago, every inn in the town seemed to be filled by the Northern Division moving through. It's an event that kind of stuck in your mind as you got to see so many armored personnel being mobilized at once. Kind of the most you've seen outside of a parade that has happened. You remembered that this was the Northern Third, specifically, that had moved through. With that, is there anything else you'd like to be doing?
Not particularly. Once he finishes eating, he'll head out of the inn and start making his way north.
Okay.
Or to the more northern part of the city, I guess.
Yeah, you remember the northern checkpoint that you had crossed through. It's a generally easy process. They hold you for about 2 minutes. A couple questions get asked, but it was never an issue for you to move through borders. As you step out into the street from General of the Northern District, this is a relatively clean, orderly place. The worked stone roads that are cast out here show strong and temperately decorated buildings and houses. You can see the different shops, and out even further as your eyes take it, you can see the residents on the outskirts of the town around the mostly decorative, as you've always thought, but still present wall that helps keep any of the wild animals from the central forest coming and causing a ruckus, as it were. You make your way northern. As you do, you can hear the sounds of people moving about their day, checking themselves, and engaging in trade. You heading straight to the point?
Yep.
Absolutely. As you make your way forward, I would love for you to make a perception check for me.
Okie dokie. 17.
17. You know, I think that's a good sign for the game. Put all of that possibility on you of terrible rolls. As you move forward, you are generally keeping an eye about you. Some of the lessons that you had learned was always be mindful of your surroundings, take heed of what opportunities could present to you, and an opportunity presents possibly to you as a person sticks out from the crowd. Generally speaking, from here you see a mixture of full and some half-blooded elves stepping around. There is a good concentration of wood elves that you see, the general descended from fey creatures as they are, some with just general artisan packs moving around trying to sell things, others of the high elven variety, kind of regal and noble-like even in their general posture, moving around, generally being the ones buying and spending things. But there is a figure that you notice who is walking, not in step with you, but it seems the two of you are heading in the same direction. And the reason they catch your eye over the other people is because their complexion is so stand out. The general elven complexion is this either pale or more olived skin. Generally a natural thing that you'd see on a humanoid. This person has ashen gray skin with silk white hair running through and a braid twisted and going over their left shoulder. They are wearing this kind of black armor with seemingly these kind of feathers woven through the shoulder pads. And it strikes you as an oddity, as someone who looks almost like they're from the southern region. Being on the border of a northern city is cause for an eyebrow raise. They don't seem to immediately pay you much mind, but are walking with a purpose northward, same as you.
Okay.
You have the choice to ignore them and continue forward, or do what you wish.
I think he would just maybe not ignore them, but keep an eye on them, see if they keep going in the same direction towards the gate. Just for now.
Absolutely. And with that, our perspective shifts from Glayrun over to this figure who is striding northward. Cody, would you like to introduce your character as you stride confidently northward?
Yeah, so I am playing a Shatterkai fighter who's kind of been sent out on a mission via his goddess that he's worshiping to kind of investigate and look into a couple of false champions and people who are kind of taking advantage of those who are maybe a little bit on the weaker side. Backstory is a little bit of a soldier upbringing, working my way through the ranks, and then my watching my battalion get absolutely wiped out by um, by some type of deity or super powerful creature that evidently was a key component in the previous campaign. I know nothing about it, of course, but just kind of losing myself in grief and a depression. Find myself on the steps of a chapel, worship a goddess. She pushes me out on this mission, and here I am, wandering through to investigate these people who may be using their strength to their advantage in a negative connotation.
Indeed. And as such, you have made your way to this town and have been looking for people that stink of religion to you. Not just any religion, though, as not just a simple priest would tip your nose. Someone who is, well, has an air about them, one that would only sow discontent in the gods. You haven't managed to find any that fit this description just yet, and as such, your saying Bloodhound Nose, we'll say, is yet to be correctly configured. However, you do come with a pretty good sense of telling who is tangentially related to religions. And I would say give me either a religion or perception check, your choice. Just let me know which one.
I'm going to take a perception check because I have a little bit of extra fluff I can throw in there.
Okay.
And I rolled a 19 plus 2 for 21.
Hell yeah. You making your way through are watching all these people. You've grown used to the odd looks that the vendors and patrons alike have given you over these last few days. And as such, you take note of when one gaze looks at you for a little bit longer than the rest. As you look over, you watch as a high elf is looking away from you, of not exactly meeting your gaze in the moment, and you can see a talisman of a must be a deity that is quickly brought back to bear forward with them. You can easily tell that this person is associated with a deity and heading northward on the same general path that you are. So, unless if you want to do anything, it does seem that the two of you are heading to the same location, at least at the moment, heading northward. You yourself are thinking you're finished with this city and moving on to the north, where you hear that things might become a little bit more religiously zealotrous up there. But if you want to interact with a seemingly newly observed religious man, you are welcome to.
I don't think again, like I guess I don't know. I wouldn't jump to conclusions, I guess. So I'll keep an eye on him. If he says anything suspicious or weird offhanded that might pique my interest, Otherwise, I think I'll carry on until we're, I guess, out of the populace.
Okay. The two of you head upwards. As the northern region, you come to the edge of the northern region. You can see the wall draw ever closer, and with it, the reinforced gate that marks the northern passage of the city. Looming off in the distance like a mountain is one of the two important marks of Alinar Orin, the Grand Library of Usapait, a towering bastion of knowledge and arcane research that is cut off to the majority of people, but is a magnificent sight of a seemingly mountain that twists and turns until it becomes wood and stone and glass and rises high into the sky. It can be seen from almost anywhere in the city. And with this background, the two of you approach the point. The point itself currently has about 5 elven guards standing. You can see 3 of them are just kind of keeping watch about. There's one with a tassel that kind of designates him as maybe a sergeant or someone of a higher rank than the rest. As the other 2 are at the gate, and you can see one of them who is talking to a figure. A more Fae-like figure. You can see that she's been stopped and is not really pulled aside yet, but you can see him kind of speaking in a low, kind of firm tone to her. What are your guys' passive perceptions?
12.
Push it talk. 12.
12. Okay. Both of you can very, very quietly hear this guard saying, "I'm sorry, ma'am, you've been selected for a slight review. I just need you to come with me quickly. This shouldn't take too long." And as you get a better look at the woman who is being talked to at the guard, by the guard, Jazz, would you like to introduce and describe your character?
Yeah. So you see this taller, very thin woman who is she stands very tall, very gracefully. Her spine is like super straight. You see that she has the features of a satyr. However, something that's a little bit different about her features is that hers resemble more of a sheep rather than that of a goat. So the hair that you see on her is very wool-like, very curly, and her horns are very short. The tail that she has is almost that of a cow, where it is longer with a tuft of fur at the end. And yeah, she also has golden eyes with the, I don't know if you guys have ever seen how sheep pupils look, but they're more rectangular. That's how her eyes are set. And that's her description.
Yoa, you have been traveling for maybe a little over a week now. There has been a small caravan that you have elected to travel southward with, just for generalized protection. There are some rowdy creatures along the pathways of the northern plains. But everything had went smoothly. There was a final day or two that you elected to travel alone as the rest of them were diverting to a separate city, Alice Iriu, that you did not have any interest in going to. And you had finished your trek to Eleanor Orin today, intending to get within the city, and thinking that because you had traveled light enough, that your time at the northern point that you as well had passed through many of times would not take very long until this very moment, where you had been stopped by a younger elven guard who is now informing you that to come with him, there's some additional questions that need to be asked of you. It's just procedure.
And what qualifications do I need to fall under for this procedure?
We're holding. There's been a slight change of doctrine that is. Ma'am, I need you to come with me.
Yoi will roll her eyes very annoyed, as she is used to this treatment when it comes to the city, but isn't any more appeased by it. And she throws her hands up just a little bit in like a surrendering way. Fine, let's go then.
This shouldn't take too long. He kind of grabs his spear, which you all can see for the Alinar Town Guard. They look more for show than anything. Clean spears that aren't really used too much in the Northern District, and guides you over to a side of one of the gates of the checkpoint of the wall. There is a door that he takes keys to, unlocks, and do you walk into the wall with him?
Does it seem threatening?
He doesn't seem generally threatened by you. He's just,
Okay.
if for more than anything, he's using the spear as like a walking stick. Although
sure.
he does not need to use it as a walking stick, he's young enough. And as you peer inside, it does seem to be some sort of waiting room that he opens the door to. You can see a couple chairs, about 6 or 7 of them. One of them has kind of this collection of dark clothes that are just thrown onto it, but the rest of them seem pretty clean. And you have your choice of chairs, as even if you want to sit on the collection of dirty dark clothes that have seemed to be collected on one chair in particular.
Yeah, I guess she'll walk into the room, and sit on the closest chair to where she assumed she would be going next for questioning.
Okay.
How long did you say this was going to take?
You hear the door close and the individual walking away.
Lovely. Okay.
I would now like you to make a perception check.
Okay. Perception. Wow. Yeah, that is not great. 12.
12. It's not difficult. As you kind of take a moment to gather yourself, you look over and you smell some sort of stench coming from this bundle. It's a large mass of black cloak that looks like it's been just bundled up tightly and placed over there. And you smell that kind of like metallic X smell of dried blood coming from it. And as you look closer, you realize this cloak, while deceptively rough and kind of crumpled, does in fact seem to have someone or something in it that is tightly kind of wrapped up and bundled. You can't really see much of the face or frame, but it almost looks like someone that is in like a cannonball position that has been tightly wrapped and bundled up, almost to a level where you, of just your general kind of wisdom or insight about a person, would be a painful amount of bundling. So much so that like blood flow would probably be cut off to the legs with how tightly it's bundled up. The individual does not seem to be moving.
Can Yoi, like, take her fingernails, and pinch the top of the hood ever so slightly to lift it to see the face of the person underneath of the cloak?
Sure. As you pinch the cloak and kind of pull it back, it does take a little bit of effort to actually like peel the cloak forward, from a mixture of how tightly bundled it is and also the sticky sensation of blood that is kind of like keeping it adhered almost to the skin. As you can see, blood that has kind of dried and stuck in one spot from a healing kind of spot where it looks like a fist, maybe with a ring or something, had cracked against the brow and split it open. And what you see is darker skin, this kind of like slash through white eyebrows and whitish hair that kind of tumbles down over these bright blue eyes. As Ophelia, you feel kind of a bit of light, although it is dim light. Your eyes are so sensitive to it that it does feel a bit blinding, as your cloak, which was acting both as a cover for you from the sun and also temporary bandage for you from when you had been accused of disturbing the peace around a day ago, and taken here for holding. As the cloak gets taken and pulled from your forehead, you can see this woolly satyr woman removing the cloak from around your eyes and forehead.
Well, aren't you a nosy one?
I mean, how could I not be with such a stench?
Stench or no, do you go around peeling upon the layers of everyone you meet?
I mean, your skin practically smells like it's falling off. Are you all right?
Not all of us could be so lucky. Be prim and proper. I'll make do.
Well, JC,
Yes.
I do have like a set of traveler's clothes on me.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be appropriate, or would I be able to offer them to?
I mean, they're your
person?
clothes. You're welcome to offer them. It's whether they accept them that's the issue.
So Ophelia will see Yoi reach into her bag that she has just to her side, and see her pull out some just very standard brown, not very fancy clothes, and hold them out to you. It's not much, but I don't need these.
Your gesture, while appreciated, is unneeded. For what use do clean clothes have on a body that's dirty? It'd be more uncomfortable just to be dirty altogether.
I suppose, but your clothes look like they're sticking to you.
That happens when... That happens. Don't worry too much about it. But I appreciate it. Had I been a bit cleaner, I might have took you up on your offer. Though they'd probably only get ruined. I doubt you'd want them back after anyway.
No, trust me, I definitely don't need them back, but... How long have you been here?
I'd say it's been about a day and a half or so. They aren't
You're
very
kidding.
keen on checking on me.
Has anybody come in before or after you?
Has anyone been in this room, DM?
You've heard people moving around. However, no one else has been placed into this room. You've just heard people moving around outside, in the hallway of this, inside of the wall of Alinar.
No one but me here since I've been. Not even the guards have checked on me.
With you saying that, you see Yoi taking a very irritated, sharp inhale. She goes, and she sets the clothes next to her on the chair, and you watch as she stands and walks to the door where the guard ended up walking out and starts knocking on it.
Okay. You rap on the door, and you can see that there is this small kind of pane of glass about the size of a small plank of wood across. And you look out, and the immediate hallway is empty. You check the door, and just as you feared, it is currently locked.
So I don't see anybody on the other side of this door.
You do not. You just see the hallway.
Oh, Lordy.
As you have that thought, we're gonna switch back to the two people outside. Which one of you have the initiative to approach the checkpoint first? If neither of you
I
want
will.
to, okay. You approach this area. You can see the guards kind of looking. One of them kind of lazily hails you. You kind of step over to the side. How may I be of service to you today?
I'm looking to make my way through to the northern region.
I see. Traveling out or returning?
Traveling out.
Which town or city are you traveling to?
Alis Irel.
All right. You can see him kind of take out a small, sheet parchment-wise, kind of shuffle through it and looks. And he takes out this quill and almost like goes to mark the page when you see his brow kind of furrow for a second, and he looks over. And you see him kind of like looking over at the sergeant. You see him kind of like raise like an eyebrow. The two of them aren't saying anything, but you assume something has just happened between the two of them, as the sergeant shakes his head and kind of like makes a like a move on or ongoing motion. Right. Terribly sorry to do this to you, but there is a quick thing we do need to do for you. We're checking people heading out of the city. A new search has kind of been placed out. You don't fit the description, but the sergeant wants to be thorough. I apologize, sir. I do have a quick thing that I'd like to run you through, and I just have to take you to a small spot to just confirm a couple questions, and then we'll get you right on your way.
How long will this take?
Well, I would hope not to take too much of your time, so we'll just go through the first page and then be done with it. How does that sound?
Very well. Lead the way.
Please, come with me. And he begins kind of taking you over to a section. As Elion, you step up and kind of get approached by another guard. What are you doing here?
I just planned on passing through, just like the two people before me.
I was going to have to stop you there for a moment. There's been a bit of a issue with the point, and we needed to check out people passing through. Where are you heading?
I suppose wherever this road will take me. What is the next closest town?
All right. Well, I'm sure you'll find out what the next closest town is, but before we let you leave this one, we have to make sure you're not doing anything uncouth. I'm gonna need to take you aside for temporary holding. We're gonna ask you a couple questions, and then if everything checks out, you'll be free to go.
Very well. I'll
Well,
follow him.
You are both pulled aside. However, as Glairon is kind of just placed into the hall, and the guard immediately does take out like a sheet of paper and begin asking you a couple unneeded questions. They're unnecessary, and they feel more like a checklist of a random search than anything. You see this ashen-skinned character that you had noticed kind of step in with you, and instead you hear a door be unlocked and opened as the guard leads this Fey man into another room. Yoi and Ophelia, you see another more dark elf-skinned individual get led into the room by another one of the guards. Yoi, you had kind of sat down by your chair again, Ophelia not moving, as you see another individual be led into this waiting room. And Elion, you once again hears, this is going to take a bit of a pause. We have a bit of a wait, and then we'll get those questions asked to you, and if everything checks out, you'll be let on your way.
Very well.
As he leaves you in this room, goes and closes the door, Glairon, you see him take out keys to begin to lock this, when a door actually like opens with a bit of haste, hits the edge of the wall and kind of reverberates off, and it's the sergeant, and you hear him speak quickly in full Elvish, which all of you can hear, even through the door, Yoi, Ophelia, and Aelion. There is a issue, the edge of the southern. We've been called to reinforce. pause on your questions to the man. And the other one kind of nods and goes, you see the other one kind of toss the keys to the one that was asking you questions, Glaren. And he kind of like sighs and goes, I'm terribly sorry, sir. You're going to have to wait for a moment. There's an issue. Please, we don't have a separate room for you at the moment, but take care of yourself take care of yourself. I apologize for putting you in this awkward situation. And he opens the door and kind of gestures apologetically for you to enter this holding room.
I thought you said this was going to be a quick
There
little
is. It's supposed to be quick, and apologies for it, but there's an issue, and we do need to go. I did not mean to hold you, but we seem to have to. I apologize.
So be it.
Do you step in?
Yes.
You step into the room and you hear the door close and the keys lock into place as the man then hurriedly steps and runs away. The door closes, and there is a moment where the four of you, two standing, two sitting, are in this holding room. You each eye each other and observe what this holding room is. The one door locked with that windowed panel behind Glaren's back. The 7 chairs kind of strewn out among the wooden floor. And a barred window that is just letting out a little bit of light from the sun kind of moving through the bars. Only about like a 3-foot wide space of a window that you can all kind of look out from, if any of you are tall enough to do so, requiring about a 5'10" person to stand on their tippy toes to see out of. But otherwise you can see out of fine. It's just a high window.
I do not have time for this. But Yoi will look out the tall window.
Okay. You look one way and look the other, and what you can see is through this section, you basically it is this small bit of window that looks back out onto the street opposite of the checkpoint. So where you guys are, the door is opened from the side of the wall. You are then led to a room on the right side. So that's where the holding room is. The window, Yoi, that you are looking out looks over the street that you take to approach the checkpoint itself from the city. And you catch, as you immediately kind of go over to that window, you can catch the retreating body of that last guard as he is running through the street after whatever has alerted the rest of them.
We're just gonna sit back down defeated. We aren't getting out of here anytime soon, I'd imagine.
It does seem rather irresponsible for them to just leave us here, but I suppose we can hope they come back.
Well, there's nothing to be done about it now, but to wait.
Yoi will look at Glaren. Did you come here before me?
No. I was behind you in line.
And they were asking you questions?
Yes, they were.
Oh, wonderful. seems there's quite a benefit to looking like everybody else in the city.
I suppose, not that I would notice.
This one has been here for over a day, apparently. Yoi points at Ophelia.
Have you now?
Well, first, this one has a name. And secondly, yes, I have.
I suppose that doesn't bode too well for myself or you, and I'll look towards Yui.
Unfortunately, I don't think so. But that's how it is, I guess. Especially for the city.
Glayrun's gonna make their way over to Ophelia. Do you mind if I take a look at some of your wounds?
How could you tell I was wounded?
Well, it seems like you're all tightly bundled up on that chair there. I can't imagine you're too comfortable.
I'm rather quite comfortable. I've been here for a day after all. And I see you're just as nosy as the other one. I appreciate the sentiment, but as I told her, I'll be fine.
Alright, if you say so.
I don't think you'll be fine. As everyone's heads, you can snap to hear that voice. And what you see through the barred window is two auburn brown pigtails kind of floating upside down with the edge of a forehead and two kind of like pinkish eyes looking through the bars at you all. Someone is hanging possibly off of the wall, looking down upside down at the four of you through the window. And as you see them kind of like slide down a bit and just hang from the bars, it is this halfling woman, kind of darker skinned, again those pinkish eyes, and this kind of like smirk on her face, like she heard you say something, knows that it's wrong, and can't wait to correct you. As she eyes the four of you. I was wondering if they were going to be right that this was going to be happening today. Ah, they're pulling everyone. I didn't expect to see someone like you. And as she does, she kind of gestures at you, Glayrun. I think you would have been let past. Everyone else. They were going to get here, but you as well? Oh, they pull anyone these days.
What do you mean by that?
Oh, I heard through the grapevine that these points were going to become less of a pass-through point and more of a holding point today. Seems I'm right.
Holding point? Holding point for what?
Criminals? They want to see if you all done bad things. Have you done bad things?
Well, I certainly haven't, but I don't know about the rest of these three, I guess.
Unsavory individuals, aren't they? What about you? Mrs. Chair. You look like you do bad things. Ain't that right?
Jim, have I seen a halfling before?
Probably not, actually.
Okay, so in typical fashion, I'm gonna assume this is a child
Mhm.
being a shit eater, and I'm gonna put on that standard like drow like coldness, and say children shouldn't worry about the workings of adults.
Okay, well, if y'all adults want to stay here and rot, I'd be happy to let you. Or,
Has Yoi seen a halfling before?
yeah, Yoya's seen a halfling.
I figured. That's no child, friend. That's just, um... How do we get out of here?
Well, you can wait, and they probably won't let you out, regardless of what they tell you. Couple minutes, maybe an hour. Oh, things are gonna get much worse for you before they get better. Or, counterpoint, you could say please.
Please to the guards.
I was thinking to me.
And do you have a key?
I do.
Can you prove it?
No, what's the point of that if I don't have any leverage over the four of you? I came here specifically to see if people were actually getting held by the Northern Guards, and if they were, you know, cause some chaos, bring some stuff, and say hi to some new people. I like meeting new folks.
You know, he looks awful polite, and I'm sure would love to say please. Isn't that right, gold elf man?
My name's Glaren, and I would love to. Would you please open the door for us?
I'll do you one better. You watch as this halfling pulls out this kind of section of metal, and you see like this small like green edge kind of glow on it. It's gonna take give me like 30 seconds, and then y'all welcome to run your pretty little heads off. I think every one of you can fit through the window. And she drags this sheet of metal across the bars, and you hear just the hissing of acid against metal as she basically saws about halfway through the bars and then drags it back as this halfling begins cutting through the bars and kind of just talking to herself. So where do you think you all be going after this? Oh, now we get secretive.
Probably to dinner.
That's fair. I know a couple good spots if you want me to take you. For the rest of you, I think half of you wanted to go upwards. I can tell you that ain't happening. So, if you want to redirect your efforts, I'm welcome to spot you for a quick meal, and you can talk about your futures with me.
Jacob, this isn't we're not going into Forbell, are we?
No. No. Right now, would be going into. You're at the checkpoint of Eleanor Oren. She's sawing through the southern side of the wall, so you'd be getting back into Eleanor Oren.
Okay, that's.
Fort Bell is over a week away in travel.
Ah, okay, I understand.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose dinner's better than here.
Mm-hmm. You're still welcome to sit here like a goody two-shoes after the window gets pulled away and see what the gods think of you after that. But I'm getting at least the person who says please, they ask for the door to be unlocked, and well, this is my key. She holds back up the thing of iron and starts dragging it over the top of the bar now too. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's really going to make us look like criminals if we come out this way.
I mean, what's better, to be actually a criminal or to be accused as a criminal? Well, they have you. Oh, you ain't in a pickle. Clink. You see the bars boop, 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 kind of hit and like ring off of the wood as they fall inwards as she kind of like looks around. You ready to go? You're welcome to sit here. I'm not going to stop you.
Can I use Divine Sense real quick?
Sure.
10. So that'll tell me if there are any celestial, fiend, or undead who are within, let me see here. And not behind total cover. Within 60 feet, not behind total cover, celestial, fiend, or undead.
There are no celestials, fiends, or undead.
Okay. Yeah, whatever. Is there any residual acid on the window?
She looks to be kind of like quickly mopping it up with something. She just kind of runs her hand over it and it disappears. She kind of taps her fingers on the windowsill and goes, "All right, well, follow me if you dare. You're welcome to stay put, though. Don't say I forced you into anything." She drops from the window. You hear the soft little poof of her feet hitting. What would you like to do?
Well, I don't intend to hang around here any longer than necessary. Are the rest of you coming with?
I've wasted enough time here.
I suppose there's no point in waiting for the guards to come back, so might as well.
I suppose we... Better a criminal than an accused.
All right. You guys moving through the window?
Yes.
You there, with the golden hair.
Yes?
I must take advantage of your previous thought of kindness to ask for it now. You seem to be of the burly sort. Would you mind giving me a hand? And her hand extends out from the cloak.
Yes, of course. And he'll reach down and attempt to help them up.
Yeah, you grab and pull, and you expect to see the cloak unfurl and feet extend, but instead you pull them off of the chair and they softly hit the ground, remaining at about the height they were while they seem to be sitting. Their one hand still extends from the cloak fully now, as she kind of looks up at you.
He will pick her up.
Mind your hands.
She's fairly light, as you realize that several sections of her form and figure are noticeably missing. But easy enough to pick up.
Okay. Do
right.
one of you two want to get through the window and I can hand her through?
I'm happy to go first.
All right. As you all are placed, either placed or climbed through the window, I would love a group stealth check.
Dirty 20.
Thank you.
12.
7.
Okay.
Did they take our stuff when they put us in here?
No, they didn't.
Okay.
You still have your bags on you. They were, especially you, were just being held.
14 for you.
14. All right. With the Shadowkai moving through first, a exchange of dark elf through where the bars were, followed quickly by high elf and satyr. The four of you make your way out onto the street, where you see the halfling girl kind of snicker at the four of you and kind of make a like come along with me gesture before moving to the left. Heading to the east along the edge of the wall. At this point, again, it is up to you whether you'd like to follow this halfling to wherever she is leading you or try to go somewhere else.
Glayron will follow at least until we're out of the building.
Yeah, I'll pursue the halfling as well.
Okay. You all begin to follow her as she has gotten you outside of the wall and you're walking along the street. You see her kind of pull and weave through different roads. On the edges of the town, it is a lot easier to see more residential places than the center of the town, which seems to be more focused on businesses and other forms of houses as such. You move through a bunch of from different side streets, all kind of watching yourselves in quiet contemplation about what you're doing and what is happening, until this halfling kind of leads you about a couple, like a good few miles away from the checkpoint over onto the easternmost side of the city. As you see a seemingly older looking shop that was once of beautiful make, wood elven patterns that pull over the sides of the store, but now time has caught up to it, and you can see that there is a kind of large tarp that extends out, almost giving it a look of those like a noodle shop. And as this halfling kind of leads you all along, you step inside the store and you can smell herbs and aroma and plates moving together. There are a couple people in this section. Noticeably, though, neither of them are full-blooded elven descent. You can see a half wood elf that is sitting in the corner, that is twisting a utensil through a bowl of noodles. But the other person, who seems to be the chef, that is standing behind some sort of fire that they are pulling different pans or pots out of and replacing in, checking the boiling waters or soups, is a looks to be a half elemental of a fire genasi. You can see the tips of his fingers kind of flare into flame as he checks different things, almost seemingly unable to burn himself as he kind of waves the five of you over to a table. The snickering of the halfling seems to have kind of died down a little bit. And she goes over to one of the larger tables that the fire genasi was beckoning over towards. As she sits, you watch as she kind of looks around on the floor and takes a kind of like section of this larger cushion that looked like it was stored in a place that you didn't initially see, but she seemed to know exactly where it was, that acts almost as a booster seat, so she'd be at eye level with most of you at the table before climbing up and kind of sitting down as she calls over, Argyle, I'd like 5 bowls of the regular, all on my tab. And you can see this Genasi just kind of like huff, turn over, and you watch as this pot kind of goes, gets kind of set over the fire, and this large puff of smoke kind of fills the room with different herbs and seasonings, this kind of spiced broth that's getting prepared now for the 5 of you. As the table is ready for you all to sit or be sat at, depending on who you are. What do you do?
Yui will sit down next to the halfling girl. That's very kind of you.
I said I'd pick something up for y'all. I didn't say you get to choose, though, so you get to see what I like.
I don't really see that as a problem.
So,
Glayrun will set the elf with no legs down on one of the chairs and then take his seat himself.
Aelin will follow, following up with, so what's your game here? You just want to meet new people?
I like meeting new people, but I mean, everything has another view, doesn't it? I'd like to one, get to know y'all, and wanted to see how you'd react to me, and then I can offer some proposals after we've all eaten. There's no I ain't the government. I ain't gonna hit you with a contract right away and not tell you anything. I want to drop some details, but so far y'all are passing with flying marks, being able to and willing to break out of the holding pen. Seems like y'all have some some grace after all. Not enough grace to not be held up anyway, but, you know, everyone needs to start somewhere.
And what's your story? Is it the first? You seem to know how to break those bars pretty quickly.
Yeah, they use the same for the jail. The same material goes away pretty quickly. Just figured, good opportunities come from things like this. It was rumored that they were gonna start holding people at the northern checkpoint, and I figured a couple disgruntled people would make for a pleasant lunch and a pleasant business proposition. Since I don't care how pure your blood is, I don't think you'd be getting out of there personally.
So you're a convict recruiting unlikely supposed criminals.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a nice clean way of putting it. Convict would imply that they haven't given up on looking. So I just I'm just me. I'm just here. I'm having fun. Are you not having fun? I'm having a great time.
This wasn't exactly how I intended to spend my morning personally.
I don't think most people think they're going to get detained for their morning. You hear the kind of loud thuds as the fire genasi comes over and sets down these piping bowls of noodles and meat and just these kind of hearty, seasoned bowls of noodles for you. You see that the halfling quickly takes some utensils and kind of takes a sample taste of the bowl herself before kind of nodding to herself with a noodle halfway halfway hanging out of her mouth before continuing to eat for a little bit longer.
Can I perception or insight or whatever this to make sure it is what it is and not like poison or anything like that?
You're checking to see if the noodles are poisoned?
Yeah.
That would be
If they have, like,
medicine.
funky. Medicine's fine. Medicine's fine.
Medicine's fine.
Medicine's fine. I'm probably not gonna know. Where the hell is my? Oh, there it is. 11.
11. You look and kind of like poke at the noodles for a bit. They seem perfectly fine.
You'll start eating then.
Spiced noodles, very hearty and very filling is the important part. Now,
And we'll pull his bowl up as well. Sorry.
no, you're all good.
Start eating.
I encourage you guys to interrupt me if you're going to start saying stuff in character. That's always welcome.
Ophelia's gonna wait until everybody starts eating first, give it a minute, and then start eating.
Alright, Glarin will begin eating.
All right. As you all kind of eat, she kind of looks around. Well, to be as upfront as possible, there has been a couple mishaps that have happened. Not from me, just from some people I knew. And if we're defining what makes someone a criminal and a convict, I do think they do classify now as criminals. And as such, I'm in a little bit of a spot where I can't do much with just what I have left over. But you guys are all, most of you, kind of almost giving like a slight pause to Glarin. Most of you are brand new or pretty new to the city. And as such, fresh faces, fresh ideals, and a lot more opportunity. I know that a couple or all of you were trying to get out of the city. For the other ones, kind of making finger gun motions at Yoy and Ophelia, you might have been trying to get in, and for that I say, you're welcome. But if we want to keep things rolling, I have a couple ideas, and I'd love for you all to take some time out of your busy schedules to help me get a couple things done around the city. I promise nothing's gonna do too much to your image or name. If you're worried about that, I don't know how many people are worried about their name being run through the dirt, but I don't think your name's gonna be part of it. I just I'd be looking for some friends is what's happening.
I do hope you're not proposing we do anything illegal.
I mean, we already did something illegal, so we're a little bit past that line. But there's going to be a couple of fun things I think are going to happen in this city in the next couple days or even weeks. And I'd love to have some assistance.
You've bought us lunch. I believe the least we can do is hear you out.
That's what I was hoping. I, oh, what do you proper folk call it? I am. Is it just for hire? Is that what it is? A hireling, whatever. I do jobs for people, around here. I normally do it with a group, having a couple fresh faces around would help keep suspicion low, and if we under promise and over deliver, I'm sure that we can get some exceptional rewards for it. After all of this, we can work towards different things that you need. Speaking for the two gentlemen over here, I'm sure they're wanting passage out of the city. That should certainly be arranged if we get enough rolling in our favor. For the two lovely ladies, I'm not quite sure what you're looking for, but I'm sure that we can figure something out once we build up a little bit. I just think of it less as you're now stuck in the city with a bad reputation and image with me, and more of like you're getting a tour from me of different things that we should hit and do from the city. I don't have exact details of what we'll be doing since I need to get that plan ironed out, but you wouldn't need to stay in an inn if you don't want to, and jobs pay.
What exactly got you in trouble in the first place?
Sister, I need you to look at me, and then you can know what got me in trouble in the first place.
What were you doing? Or was it something perfectly legal and the city just being the city?
I mean, doesn't everyone start out with pure intentions? You're really gonna think that you're really gonna put your opinion of those gods who so hashily stashed you away over the word of little old me?
Yes.
You would say that.
Look, I appreciate that they got us out of that cell, but that doesn't mean I agreed to do any extracurriculars for them. I don't intend to break any more laws in this town before I have to leave it.
Well, then how are you gonna get out?
I'm sure I'll figure something out.
Nothing legal, I'm sure.
Nothing illegal is the plan.
Then I'm sure you've got your work cut out for you. But if the rest of you are interested in some, well, let's say alternate means of getting what you need and some coin under your pocket, I'm happy to be your humble assistant.
It's something that I would like to ponder, if that is all right with you, Miss.
Becky. Simple name for a simple gal.
Indeed. Becky. I cannot answer to you as of right now, just because there's a lot to think about.
Well, I'd never pressure a lady into making up her mind too quickly. But if any of you have a change of mind or heart, want some help, and are in return willing to give some help, I'm all ears. And you, I say, Miss, I think you're smart enough to figure this out if you need to find me again, then. And she takes a small kind of like almost miniature scroll. You can see parchment that is wound up in two directions with a small bit of twine, and kind of slides it over the table to you. You can use that to find me.
Yoi will pick it up and slip it in her bag. Not going to open it out at the table.
And the rest of you are having just as many second thoughts.
I don't have much of a path at the moment, so your offer does interest me a little bit, potentially leading me on some things that I might pursue in the future. But again, I don't want to be stuck here doing this.
Oh. I think you're going to be stuck here regardless, but that's just me. The city's only going to get more and more tightly wound, because that's where we're heading. I'm just ready to take advantage of it.
As an alternative, I would be more than happy to attempt to help any of you out of the city who would like to try alternative methods before committing to this.
I mean, you ended up in the cell too, so I'm not sure what methods you have at your disposal.
More than you would think, but none that I'm willing to discuss here.
I'm sure he'd bat his eyelids at them. Well,
It didn't work for me.
unless if any of you change your mind in the next 5 to 8 seconds, I'll let you be and enjoy your meal. You find me when you want to. This last bit directed at Yoi. However, I would advise you all to set your stories straight before you leave if you're planning on ditching each other. Makes it easier when one of you gets caught. Bye now. She slides off, pulls the bit of cushion, and stores it in that storage space next to the wall that renders it almost invisible if you don't know it's there. And you watch this brown-haired, pigtailed halfling kind of bounce happily out of the restaurant. The four of you left at the table with steaming bowls of noodles in various stages of being eaten.
She has a point in the way that she swindled us out of here, and now we're technically criminals. We do have strength in numbers. Not that, of course, we know each other whatsoever.
I have some connections here. I may be able to weasel us out of that. But the first step to doing that would definitely not be making a deal with someone like her.
I offer you this to ponder for a moment. I was in that cell for a day and a half, under the pretense of disturbing the peace, so to speak. Do you know what my disturbance was? My simple presence was the disturbance. They were rather unkind to me, struck me even. So, if your connections in town can get you beyond that bumbling crew running the checkpoint, by all means go ahead. But you would do well to remember that you did escape with what is now 3 other criminals, so to speak. I don't know if your connections are going to be willing to help you with that fact laid upon you. Now, I don't think we're all criminals, but I do know we're all one thing for certain, and that's victims of circumstance.
Look, Glaven, I agree with you. She was a bit of a whack job, and maybe making some sort of deal with her is not going to be the smartest decision. However, some of us just aren't as fortunate to, be full-blooded, without being disrespectful, of course.
Even with that being the case, if I can try, at the very least, to get us out of this situation without further incriminating ourselves, wouldn't that be preferable?
I just don't necessarily know how we're going to explain the fact that we are not in the holding cell.
That's simple. This halfling woman came, and we just explained that she melted off the bars to our cell door, and that we had no choice but to explore what was going on in the compound, as there seemed to be some disturbance going on at the southern gate, like that guard had spoken about, and so we thought it prudent to relieve ourselves of the cell in order to not get, what's the word, stuck there permanently.
So your explanation is going to be for safety.
Exactly.
Bold of you to assume they care about our safety in the first place. The predicament you think that we're having is not what we're actually having. Being incarcerated wasn't the issue, passing the checkpoint wasn't the issue. The issue is that we look the way that we do. Now, what's your solution for that? I'd love to hear it. Well, Owlbear got your tongue.
No matter how we look here, or I suppose how we came to be in that cell, it is I suppose I don't have that good of an answer to that, but I would hope that I can use my connections here to maybe assist the rest of you in leaving town with me, if that is your wish. Vouch for you, per se.
I pose you a question. Do your connections look like you too?
Yes, I would say so.
Then I doubt they'll be willing to help us. But if it suits your morals, sure, why not? I'm not exactly in a condition to be committing crimes, but I'm not really in a condition to mount a resistance either. Quite frankly, all I can do is take whatever help I can find. So sure, I'll humor you for a moment.
That's all I ask. And you
How-
two?
How far up do these connections run?
Fairly high up. I'm a member of a noble family from up in the north, and I may be able to get us an audience with some of the upper levels of nobility near the towers where the nobles reside at, right, JC?
The on the northern edge, kind of almost like more northwestern, those towers that you saw. That is where more of the nobility would reside, as they don't have just simple houses in this bit.
Perhaps I would be able to get us an audience with some of the nobility up there and get this all straightened out before any more issues arise.
And you're confident they would give us stragglers even just the time of day?
I'm confident that I could convince them.
Very well. I suppose worst it lands us is back in a jail cell.
My
can't
thoughts
say I'm
exactly.
keen on the jail cell.
I will say, typically it hasn't been an issue for me before. And Yoi will reach into her bag and pull out her guild letter. And she'll say, typically this would have just been a normal pass for me. Or at least it has been in the past. And somehow I still got put into holding. So how do we know that your connections will be able to assist us if this wasn't even able to help me get through?
Well, I suppose there's no guarantee, but I'd rather take that alternative than running around doing favors for a halfling who doesn't seem to know any kind of right from wrong.
And will us potentially be getting caught completely ban us from the city?
That is out of my realm of knowledge.
You seem to make a lot of promises despite not knowing very much.
I think that maybe we should all sit on it for a moment. We don't need to make any super large decisions right now. It seems like maybe majority of the guard is busy. So we have some time, I'd imagine.
I wouldn't count on that.
Why do you say that?
They're holding people at checkpoints, not letting them go, scattering around like rats. Something is here, and something else is coming. And I think staying here and idling with our hands while we wait for things to get sorted is the bad choice. As much as I
guess
hate to admit it, I do believe that assisting the not a child is the best bet here. A bit of petty thievery and crime, while it weigh on your morals, is a lot faster than the red tape and paperwork. And I can tell you what I know, that I don't think you'll want to be here when this all blows through, so to speak.
I guess it really isn't too far out of the question to think that why are they holding people in the first place?
This Becky did mention that it was going down today, and I haven't got the foggiest idea of what that could mean. what any clues or any idea on what could possibly be going down in the city that would have him holding people like this?
Not particularly. All I know is that a couple weeks ago, a large presence of soldiers made their way through the city, I'm assuming making their way south.
I think we're a bit beyond the idea of right and wrong right now.
JC,
Mm-hmm.
how long was I in that line for
Uh,
to get into the city?
you had been waiting for them to address you. And as such, they were a bit slower, but there weren't that many people ahead of you. There was maybe like 4 or 5 on the reception.
And did all 4 or 5 people before me get accepted into the city without holding?
You weren't paying attention to them necessarily, but I would love for you to roll a quick history check.
Okay. Um, 19.
19. You kind of ponder as everyone was talking, and you remember specifically there were some people who were pulled to the side and pulled away somewhere else, and there were others who were let in. The majority of people were let in, 4 out of the 5. However, one person who stuck out and you paid a little bit more attention to, because as you were seeing, they looked like they were maybe of half Elven descent, did in fact get pulled aside. It just seems he didn't end up in the same waiting room as you did.
So, it would be considered strange that Glarin was pulled aside for question, or I guess he was pulled aside for questioning, but put into holding because they couldn't finish the questions.
Mm-hmm. You're smart enough to kind of come to that realization of Glarin probably wouldn't have been held like the rest of you if the sergeant had come into the room like a couple minutes later.
I don't know if it's necessarily just something that I've noticed, or remember noticing, is they were only really pulling aside people that were not of full elven blood and keeping them or putting them somewhere. It's strange that you were put into holding, but I'm sure you would have passed otherwise, so why are they holding everybody else? Do any of you have a clue? Anything heard or not?
Would I be able to make a history to see if I've heard anything in the last couple weeks pertaining to this?
Yes, I would say go for it.
11.
11. No. I mean, you're not like, you know that there is a different way that you're addressed comparatively to the half or fey bloods of Usapait. But not, you haven't like heard of like an expansion of restrictions against the non-full bloods. You haven't heard of any sort of detainments happening. General, like, besides like an unruly drunkard, there hasn't been like an uptick in detainments. This would be a very recent as of like you just now are thinking that there is an uptick of detainments happening, as you just saw or now have knowledge of 5 detainments, you 4, and then the half elf that Yoi pointed out. In this one, like, probably half an hour to an hour, you have seen and heard of more detainments than you saw in your month here.
Okay.
Nothing specifically, just that the number of detainments has definitely gone up, especially recently. It seems that today I've seen more than I have in the last several weeks.
In my experience, and forgive me for my ignorance on your cultures here, cities have tended to tighten their borders in times of stress. I highly doubt it is truly racially driven or any type of genocidal reaction, but what kind of stress could the city be going through right now that would require this many imprisonments, this many people pulled aside? It seems bizarre.
JC, can I unroll that scroll
Sure.
that Becky had given me?
Mm-hmm. You unroll this small miniature scroll, and what you see in it looks to be very plainly etched in with quill and long dried ink. Southern region, and then underneath it a little bit more kind of like faded is just checking to make sure I've got this. The dancing fairy. And that is all that is there. Southern region, dancing fairy.
Do we maybe want to contact our friend who was so gracious to let us out of the holding cell and maybe find out what more they know before we try to attempt to do anything else?
I would worry that any attempt to further discuss with them would just lead to us going into their employment.
But since you and this one, Yoi will point to Elon, and you guys were trying to leave, and neither of you seem to know what is happening. Do you not think that it might be worth it, other than, not? Before we make an attempt to just leave?
I suppose another discussion can't hurt, as long as we're not committing to it.
We will need to be cautious, though, with her. It seems she's silver-tongued and very easy to get us entrapped into something we may not have seen coming.
And what do you think? Yoi will be looking at Ophelia.
You gotta ask me that again, Chief. What?
Or what do you think of, quick summary, what do you think of going and talking to Becky again to find out everything that she knows before just trying to up and leave through Glaren's connections?
I think it'll be more productive than just sitting here doing nothing.
Okay. In that case, it looks like we need to go to the dancing fairy in the southern region. Do either of you know where that is?
And roll a history.
Yes, even though you didn't spend much time in the southern region. I will say for Cody, you can just roll a luck check. That is just D20 and let me know what the number is. I would say you'd have to be substantially lucky, so you're looking for 15 and up on the dice to know.
Oh boy, let's see it. 16.
Ah, you got it. Anything from you, Glaven, or are you just going to be thinking?
It was a 18 on the history.
18 on the history. All right. As you're kind of thinking of it, and you're kind of shuffling through the cards in your head of where you've been and what you've seen, and your mind kind of like pulls back into thinking of when you had first entered the city. You had almost like just walked, not like thoroughly scrubbing each street, but just checking. You spent a lot more time in the southern half of Alinar Orin than most people would, and as such, you remember a carved silhouette of a pixie, kind of dropping or supporting herself on the side of a cup that she is in, like in danger of falling into. And you do remember it being about of a fifth of the way up from the southern region, so you would be able to, with some time, lead the group there.
I believe I do know the location that Becky has left us with. I suppose if that's our next move, should we make our way?
No point in waiting, I suppose.
Yoi will stand.
Aelin will thank the staff on the way out for coming out always.
And just kind of
the good weight staff
nods at you. Still kind of busily keeping broth hot and ready for anyone else who would venture in. The other two of you?
Yeah, stand up and start heading towards the door.
All right. Ophelia is left at the table, watching the three of you step away.
She does, like, come off the chair of her own volition and does begin to make her way to the door.
All right.
It's significantly slower than you. By about half, I would even say.
Mm-hmm. As all three of you watch as this dark elf woman descends from the chair, and you watch from like this kind of half modeled crawl that she does of supporting herself on her waist, moving and using her arm as like a podium or another point of contact to kind of thrust herself forward. It is quite slow compared to the rest of you, and unless if you guys all want to slow down to her pace, you will easily leave her behind.
Do I see a cart anywhere? Like a wheelbarrow or like a wagon or something with wheels?
Roll
You
a perception check.
I help to give advantage on that.
Do you have proficiency in perception?
I do.
Then you may. As Ophelia, you're kind of moving along and you see these two just kind of looking around these slightly tattered buildings for something they could use.
Don't you worry. Don't you worry. I have a plan. Don't you worry, homie. I have a plan for legs for you. But for now, that's an 18 on the perception.
18 on the perception. There is no wheelbarrow or cart immediately available. But as you are a crafty person, you do think that you could like take a bit of cloth that is hanging from the like flapping along the side of one of the buildings. You could take some discarded wood and make I don't remember exactly what they're called, but like they splint sleds or something, where you have a couple pieces of
like
wood.
a stretcher or a
Yes.
sled.
A stretcher where the cloth is dragged behind a person who's holding these two pieces of wood. If you wanted to take some time, you could make that.
Yeah. You know what? I will. I will take the time.
Okay. I would love, let's give it, you don't have carpentry tools, so I would say just give me an intelligence check.
Okay. Intelligence.
As the three of you watch Lyran initially helping in finding and retrieving some like suitable pieces of wood, and you see Yoi take this cloth that is kind of flapping on the side of one of the buildings, and she begins tying things off. We'll see what we've got.
21.
20. Wow.
I'm thinking maybe I didn't think this through as much as I thought I should have.
It's immediate.
This is starting to feel a little certain way.
Oh, does it?
Oh yeah, they just all they had to do was slow down. They're like, nope, we're gonna.
I
All
ain't
you had to
slowing
do was
down. I want out of here.
You could have
So-
picked me up.
So, which one of you are? We are going to call it the sled that Yoi
Not the
crafts. Which one of you, or two of you, can pull the sled and be at your normal walking speed, and one of you can pull it and just slightly exert yourself, basically to still have the carrying condition of half movement if we get into combat.
I'll grab one side.
Yeah, I'm happy to grab the other.
Alrighty. Ophelia is placed on the sled as our two lovely elven warriors pull either side, with Yoi kind of monitoring from behind. Ophelia's cloak kind of pulls out, and you have this this Walmart brand chariot that has been fashioned, dragging behind throughout the street. As Alan, you guide the group throughout the town. The easiest way for you to do it for you to take the main streets, the main kind of T roads that kind of cross through the town, or you can risk it taking a bit longer, but be a little bit more out of sight and take side streets to the southern district. Which would you prefer, since you are forced to leave the group, since you're the only one who knows where to go, technically?
I am so sorry. This is embarrassing. I was looking at pictures of those sleds so I could make a meme. Give me the two options one more time.
Would you like to take the main roads where you know you'll get there, but more people will be able to see your chariot entourage? Or would you prefer to risk back streets where less people are likely to see you and ask questions, but you'll have to roll to see if you can actually find your way to the correct part of the southern district?
I will take the role Dungeon Master.
All right. Beautiful. I would love for you to. I'll even give it as a survival check. I'd love for a survival check to be rolled.
Oh, wouldn't you know it? 17 plus 2, a 19.
Y'all are real good at this. I was like, ooh, I can't wait for the beginning where like a DC 10 is like a somewhat like, ooh, can they or can't they make it DC?
I'll have you know.
And you
I know
all-
my cardinal directions.
Y'all are able.
I know north.
My DC 10s mean nothing to you. Nothing. As you are all pulled throughout the or not pulled, one of you is pulled, the rest of you walk throughout the Alinar Orin into eventually the Southern District. It's been a while, Yoy, since you've been here, so you get a bit of a refresher as you get to watch the town steadily degrade as you head more southern. You see these shining and clean buildings become more tattered, but you had already seen that on the eastern edge of the shop that Becky had taken the four of you to. Now you get to watch sections of trash build up in the streets, corners of buildings. You get to see people wearing a bit less refined clothes kind of move back and forth. Some kind of scuzzy looking children run chasing one chasing another from one side of the street to another. And anyone here seems to be paying the four of you mind only enough to avoid you. You see people walking over to the other side of the street, eyeing the four of you cautiously, steering clear. And eventually, you find your way, since you're on the outskirts and back streets, most of these were residential areas, but eventually your companion brings you to the more business-oriented part of the Southern District, and you can see small glowing lights as you do have to spend a couple hours traveling through the city. The hours grow a little bit long, and the sun begins going down. You see these kind of arcane lights begin to kind of slowly flicker onwards and illuminate the street in this clear kind of blue lighting. The businesses remain open and flaming with torches that you can see both through the windows, and some of them posted on the outside next to the door to indicate where one should enter. Eventually, you guys have traveled for a couple hours, long enough for the three not leading the way to begin to become suspicious of the one who is leading the way, that he knows where he's going. But you stand true to yourself and do not doubt yourself. And after this travel, you see that familiar, nearly drunken, tipsy pixie cutout over a mug. The bar isn't explicitly labeled over the sign that you see, but as you move closer to the door, clearly spelled out for each of you in Elven, this is the place you were looking for. As the four of you stand or sit in front of this establishment, what would you like to do?
So is the sun gone down proper?
It is almost down proper. You can see kind of the red turning purple sky of the sun retreating away beyond the horizon. But you've got maybe another half an hour of sunlight.
Okay. I guess to put this in a way that's easy to understand, is my sunlight sensitivity being bothered by this now?
You are
Can I
no
be on the
longer
map?
at this moment bothered by sunlight sensitivity.
Okay, so the moment that affliction passes, Ophelia is gonna begin to unbundle her cloak a bit and take it down so her body, her hair is out, so
Okay.
you can actually see her face properly for the first time.
You still see, all of you can still see that gash that was opened and had kind of healed slightly over her eye. But the pale yet still darker skinned face with the kind of glowing or very, very quite blue eyes, not quite glowing, and piercing blue. Thank you. That is a good descriptor, and I was trying to think of it. Piercing blue eyes and standard silver hair that you would expect from a dark elf flowing just above her shoulders. The four of you still stand outside of this establishment. The choice is yours of what to do next.
Well, this is the place, so I suppose we can head on in and wait for her to come back, for Becky to arrive.
I suppose.
I guess I'll make my way towards the door then.
Okay.
Byron will follow.
I guess I don't
Still
have a
pulling this
choice.
sled?
Yeah, you guys are pulling the sled. There's just this slight uncomfortable thing where Ophelia has to hang on to the edge of it as you just boop, 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 up the 3 stairs that lead to the door.
She's not perturbed by it.
As you open the door, you smell the both the general smell of ale staining the floorboards, as well as the kind of sickly sweet scent that comes from mead that has been poured or possibly spilled, very likely spilled, somewhere. And you can see in here there is a collection of people. You can see about a group of a little under a half dozen elvish forms kind of over a table. Looking closely, they do seem to be half-blooded variety, but of different main elven descents. And you can hear, the more perceptive of you, the rattle of a couple of wooden dice before they are thrown with a loud kind of clunk onto the table, where you see one of them, presumably a winner, takes a couple coins from the table and moves them over to a pile that grows ever so slightly larger on his end. At another table, you can see a lone figure sipping this large kind of tankard. Hood is up, but you can see black hair kind of pooling around his lightly bearded chin. You would immediately guess that this individual would either be generally elven due to his sharp chin, but you can't tell for sure because of his hood. And then finally, a table in a corner has a couple. It almost seems like a special table in this tavern, as there is almost these kind of curtains that are anchored into the wall that look like they can be pulled around the table for privacy, and you can see this clean-shaven, fresh-faced, and yet looking older than anyone else in the establishment, high elf that is wearing slightly, ever so slightly, dirty clothes, and is simply sitting with this kind of crystalline glass of what you could only assume would be wine, and looking down his nose at the group of half-bloods that are playing dice at the far table. You do not see a bartender, although there is currently a vacated counter, and there are plenty of other tables to choose from if you do not wish for a counter. Where would you like to go?
Why don't we grab a table?
I'll head towards the bar to see if I can wait for a bartender to get drinks while everyone runs for a table.
All right. Which one of you are taking the drow?
I will.
Okay. Ophelia is pulled with Glarin and Yoy over to a table as you go over to the bar and kind of sit at it. You feel like this kind of slight change, almost in like air pressure, as you sit at the bar. And after a moment, you see a woman, human woman, which kind of strikes you as odd, as you've only seen a couple of them before. A bright red hair that is pulled into a braid that runs about halfway down her back, and a very simple clothes and leather apron as she kind of walks out to you. Hello. I haven't seen you around here before. I don't know what your usual is if you'd like to order.
Oh, I'm relatively new to town. What kind of things would you have on the menu for me and my friends? And I'll kind of nod towards the table.
Well, we have our standard array of ales, as well as some lighter distilled beers for you as well. Some harder liquors, and if you have a more refined palate, a couple of varieties of wine. Whichever your preference is, I'll see what I can see what I have in stock.
Okay, how much would 3 ales and a wine run me?
Bottle or glass of wine?
Glass is fine.
Glass is fine. She looks over. Ales would run you a copper apiece. Well, the glass would run you a silver. Glass of wine.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll take that.
Right.
While I've got your ear too, we're looking for someone who kind of helped us out earlier today. Would be a halfling woman, pigtails. Does that sound familiar? She runs around these parts.
I can't say I know who you're talking about.
Oh, very well. Must have been another swindler.
There's quite a few swindlers around these parts, but sorry to hear that all the same.
And I'll take the mad dogging the guys playing dice. I want to point that out first. I'm going to get there that in a second. But I'll take my my drinks back over to the table, and I'll slide Ophelia the wine, saying, "It looks like it's been a rough couple days. I figured I'd treat you right with something at least." And then I'll pass the other 2 the ales.
Okay.
Keeping one for myself, of course.
Thank you.
Aren't you a gentleman?
Is there any...
Apparently, our bartender doesn't know much about Becky, so it's possible she led us here to maybe point us in the direction of that man over there, and I'll kind of look in the direction of the high elf sitting at the privacy table.
Could be. But our main goal here was to get more information from her, not meet with one of her potential clients, I would assume, yes?
That is true, unless she was only recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
being the hireling she said she was, I wouldn't be too shocked if that's all that we're here for.
Well, fair enough. Why don't we wait a little bit and see if anyone shows up and approaches us?
I think that might be our best option. And worst case scenario, perhaps perhaps I head over that way, have a brief conversation, see if this deal is worth enticing us, the rest of the group into, I suppose. And then if not, we can always speak with your connections.
Sounds like a plan.
So,
I am going to kind of meander and keep an eye on the dice players until
Sure.
they notice me.
all right. You are welcome to make a performance check.
I have no modifier for this, so this is
Yay!
just raw dogging performance.
Man, the DC might actually matter to this one.
Is it above a 13, JC?
Damn it. You know what DC it was.
We're breaking tens.
They were
every day.
breaking 10s every day, baby. It was a DC 8, actually, but...
That's
you...
the scary one.
That's the scary one?
Yeah, it's scary.
As you kind of mosey around with your ale, you look and can actually catch the eye of what looks like to be a you'd assume a younger, maybe like early 20s half elf. You can see his kind of like olive complexion denotes his ancestry as wood elf, and you can see his eyes that kind of look up at you, while blue in the middle actually become like this dark green instead of white on the outside. And he goes, "You looking to play?"
What are we playing?
"Oh, just a standard devil's dice. Bet what you want, take what you can."
I suppose I'll entertain your offer. I'll pull up a seat.
"What do you have to lose?"
What off the coins on the table? What are they betting with? Because I
They-
haven't calculated silver or copper, and I'm terrified to start throwing gold down.
So basically, do you only have gold right now in your inventory?
That's all I ran. Yeah, I mean, I imagine I
Yeah.
got change from the.
I will,
from-
right now, from your
horses.
original stuff, I'm allowing anyone to just make change out of stuff. It's fine. So basically, if you want to take a gold and break it down, 1 gold becomes 10 silver, 1 silver becomes 10 copper. Just in things of 10. So 100 copper is 1 gold. You are muted.
Great catch. I'm trying to think about the change that I just got, because if I gave her a gold piece, I would have taken back 9 silver, and then I would have had.
You
would I have?
would have 7 copper, 8 silver from that interaction, because you gave her 1
Perfect.
silver
Okay.
down to 9.
Perfect.
1 silver gets broken into 7 copper.
Yeah, I went to an engineering school. I can do hard maths.
I also went to an engineering school, so it's okay.
Okay, so
how many
yeah,
how many
also-
calc
also,
classes did you take, Cody?
half.
Too fucking many.
I don't want to get into that. Okay, so I'll pull out. I'll pull out a couple silver, couple copper pieces, and kind of set them down on the table.
Copper pieces?
Yeah, we'll start with copper, but I'll put the silver in a little stack next to me, kind of like poker chips, and I'll kind of like throw a couple coppers in the pile.
You can see a kind of like a little bit more hefty half elf kind of look over you. "Oh, match bets. Good. That means we have a game. So," and he takes and puts 3 dice in your hand. I'm going to explain devil's dice really quickly to you. So what Devil's Dice is you take a D4, a D6, and a D8. What you do is you first roll the D8, and then you bet off of... you do go through a round of betting. Then you roll the D6, go through a round of betting. Finally, you roll the D4, go through a round of betting. You are trying to get the higher number total than your opponent. So, you're also muted, so don't worry. So,
I'm in.
first, pay to play. Start with 1 coin, and he puts a copper in the middle.
I will, I'll push my 1 copper forward.
And it seems to just be you and this heavier half-elf that are starting. So we're going to roll the d8. Okay.
Okay.
You see him kind of look at you. And he puts in another copper piece, bringing the total up to 2 copper.
Okay. I will, I'll match it. I'll match his bet.
Okay.
Put another copper down.
You will now roll the d6. And he's going to look at you. And then is going to raise 2 copper. So now it's 4 copper.
Okay. I will, I'll match that exactly. Saying, I suppose I see where this is going, and I'll push those 2 forward.
He did say what you're willing to lose. And now you're going to roll the d4.
Okay. All right.
And he looks, and then looks over at the half elf of the wooden descent. I'll go easy on him. I'm ready to call, unless if you want to raise.
Oh, let's throw one more. I'm feeling a little lucky. Let's throw one more in the pot.
All right. So the pot is a total of 1 silver now. He will reveal first. His D8 is a 6. What is your D8?
Not that.
What's his?
Mine was a 3.
All right. His D6 was a 2. What was yours?
That was a fat 1. I'm trying to hold up, but it's probably green screened out.
Oh no.
Okay.
And
You're gonna love the D4.
His D4 was a 2.
Also a 1.
All right. It does seem that he clears and he pulls the 10 copper into his purse. Pleasure.
Oh, they say beginner's misfortune, don't they?
Maybe for you.
What do you say we play one more?
All right. He seems to agree.
Ophelia's interested in this.
Okay.
It's a thing of like she doesn't want to come off of the sled because she knows the floor is going to be sticky.
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunately, once more, we are going to have to ask someone to drag me over there.
You've got 2 people to ask.
I will ask the person whose name I wasn't told. I will gesture towards the satyr woman and ask her to kindly take me over there because this floor seems very sticky.
Yoi will bring Ophelia over to the table and sit her down in a chair.
She can get in the chair by herself. She doesn't want to crawl on the floor.
You
So
guys...
if
Mm-hmm.
it's D8, a D6, and a D4, and I just have to roll higher than them on all 3.
I mean, technically, yeah. I mean, if you get an 8, you're pretty good, but
Okay,
we'll find out.
that sounds interesting. I
Well,
haven't had a lot of joy lately.
I haven't played dice with one of you before, but I'll take your money all the same. Well, we were gonna do one-on-ones, but you're welcome to make it a full pot if you want to. Or are you going to scare off this newcomer to the pool?
We could do one-on-ones anyway, right?
Or you could
Him
also
with one, me with the other.
you could also just make it interesting. All for one. Give you some coin. Give him a chance to make his money back or lose it all the more.
That all sounds fair to me.
Right. Well, do I need him to re-explain the game to you, or are you just gonna put a coin in the middle?
I'll take a second explanation, sure.
All right. Digging through the explanation, D8 is rolled, round of betting. D6 is rolled, round of betting. D4 is rolled, final round of betting. You have to put in a copper to play.
Okay. I only have gold, so I'll bust one
Yeah, you can split it.
into
100 copper.
No, we'll do 5 silver
And 50
and
copper.
50 copper.
Okay.
I think that's just a good mix of money to have on you at any given time.
All right. Well, you all split. All three of you, you two and the heftier half-elf, put a copper in the middle. And I'd love for you guys to take a D8 and roll it. While they're rolling their dice and thinking of whether they want to bet, I'm going to shout out James, who got me these beautiful dice for my birthday that I've been using to torture you guys all session. They look amazing. As he looks towards, what's the point of me raising all the time? What do you want to raise it to? And then you are next in line. Would you like to raise or check?
I will raise it 2 copper pieces.
Okay. Raise 2, so that means going up to 3. Ophelia.
I'm gonna put in 5.
Go up to 6. You can see him kind of sweat almost immediately. Oh, it's cruel of someone of my skill and expertise to, yeah, and he kind of just sets his dice to the side, and the wood elf just kind of, and it seems like he's demonstrating to you how to fold, which means it goes to you. You'd need 3 more to match. Or 2 more to match, sorry. You went to 5, right? What did you raise it to 6?
Let's see, I raised up, 3?
You put it to 3. I forgot if how many went to 5 or 6 total copper in for each person.
Counting the one I put in, I guess that's 6.
Okay, so that's 6. So that means you would need to put in 3 more.
Did I start with it? Wait, did I start with the copper?
You
Or
did.
do I...
So everyone has to pay to play, so 1 copper goes in.
And I went up 2.
You went up 2, so you went to 3, so you'd need to add 3
yeah.
more, go to 6.
3 more it is.
Okay.
Lead me dry.
So both of you are up to 6, which means the D6 gets rolled now. And he is out.
So it's just me, Aelin, and the other guy, right?
The other guy folded. It was just the 3 of you, and he folded, so he's only put in 1 copper. And then you scared him.
Then.
Yeah.
It's not fun if it's not a full party.
It's just gang on gang violence.
It's just
now.
gang on gang
I will
violence.
say to him, it looked a lot more fun when you guys were doing it. Folding's no fun.
No, we got to see this out.
All right.
Of course.
And then you're, unless if you guys want to raise each other, you can roll the D4.
I'm not raising.
All right. So then you're just letting the rest of it go. D4.
Yeah.
All right. How did you fare, my friend?
On my D8, I have a 5.
Unfortunately, I rolled a 2.
On my D6, I have a 4.
I have a 6.
And on my D4, I have a 2.
I have a 3. What is that? What's that total is?
Count your totals.
Yeah,
That gets me to 11.
you're gonna love this.
You're at 11
Also
too.
11.
All right. That means you've got one final thing to happen. You get to choose one of your 3 dice, as all of those are public now, and you re-roll it, and that breaks the tie. Whatever it puts your total to. It could be any of them. It could be your D8, your D6, or your D4.
Okay.
You announce, because you have to pick up the die and roll it, but you announce what you're rolling.
I rolled my D8.
Oh, I guess.
You gotta.
I guess I'm re-rolling that D8.
Coward.
Ooh.
Ooh. No!
What'd you get?
I got a 3!
I got a 6. I got a 6.
And we have a winner pulling in 13 copper pieces.
So I put in 6. That takes me down to 44.
Mm-hmm.
I rather like this game.
All right, well, there's no shame in letting a couple of the lads join in now that you all have the basics. And if you guys want to, we'll run one larger one with 3 NPCs in it. Or you can pull away now.
No.
All right. I have my new dice from James. I have these nice red dice. And then I have my black metallic dice. And as we start, 1 copper to play.
Okay. D8.
Okay.
Come on, baby, give me a good one.
I've got 3 D8 to roll. All right. So, we are going to start at the... we're going to call him number 1 of the heftier gentleman. Number 2 is the wood elf, and number 3 is a different half elf. We will do the first elf's betting, then we go through you 2, then the other 2 elves' bets. So, the first one raises 1 copper. Goes to Cody.
I will raise 3 copper.
Okay, up to 4. How many?
It's not looking good for me, Chief. I'll be honest with you. But I did say it's not fun if you fold. The sucker's born every minute, huh? I'll call.
Okay, so you're up to 4.
Yes.
The other elf, the wood elf, calls as well, so up to 4, and then the new elf will also. So everyone goes up to 4, goes back to the last heftier elf, and he will go up to 4 as well. So now we roll d6s. The heftier elf will call or check and pass it to Cody.
I will raise 10 copper pieces.
Mama. 10 copper, so up to 14. My lad. What a spicy man. Over to Helminia.
I'll call.
All right, we have a game. 14. The wood elf smiles, and now you're in the spirit of it. And he is going to match as well, going up to 14, and actually raising it to 16. 16 total. The final elf will do the same, and so we'll go to 16. And then the heftier elf has started sweating again and will fold. So it goes to Cody. You'd have to raise 2 more, up to 16.
Yeah, I'll call it.
Okay. Helminia?
Suppose I have to as well, yes?
All right. 16 it is. The final D4 gets rolled.
Do I get to bet again after this one, too?
Yes.
Okay.
Alrighty. Well, the hefty man has already lost his nerve, so go straight to Cody. Azaleon won't. You need to unmute.
I will raise another 5 copper pieces.
5, 21. On to Ophelia.
You see, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Do these men look like they are men of means?
Like workers?
Like, how much money... If I had to guesstimate, how much money do they have in their pockets?
You would guesstimate that maybe they have a couple more silver in their pockets. But they're not, like, overflowing with cash, if that's what you're asking.
Okay, so here's where I'm gonna violate the nature of the game and do some fuck shit.
Uh-huh.
I'm putting in 3 gold.
Ah. As you see the other two's faces kind of, like, twist in confusion, one of them kind of leans over and says, what are you supposed to do when that happens? Shut up.
Oh, is this not allowed? Is it not enough?
No. It's fine. It's fine. We just, we would have to go all in, is what you're doing. That's a lot of coin.
You gentlemen could always turn tail.
There's no shame in that.
I would love for you to make a persuasion check if you're trying to get them to go all in, or an intimidation check if you're trying to get them to fold. Let me know which.
I don't have proficiencies in that, but can advantage be applied for me effectively hustling these dudes?
I would say Cody might be giving you advantage with his statement. I would be willing to let you apply it.
I don't want to roll it. I want him to roll it.
I'm happy to intimidate him, but if we're trying to scam these guys, like...
I would say one of you can roll, and since Cody was also saying stuff and Helminia supplied the gold, you would get to roll with advantage. Again, persuasion to get them to go all in, intimidation to get them to fold.
I'm thinking intimidation.
I'm also thinking intimidation.
Let it ride.
Oh, wouldn't you know it? 21. These guys are shaking in their boots.
This was a 15 DC for one of them, and a 13 for the other. As both of them kind of look and just, I think you got us. Congratulations. I will let that ride. I think I'm good. And he just pushes his 16 copper in and just kind of, I think my coin's better suited to some drink personally. You have a good night.
Do they
Got
both
some
fold?
betters. The other one watches the wood elf kind of get up and move away and goes, yeah. I think drink sounds good right now. And kind of claps the heftier guy, the heftier half elf on the shoulders before standing up, and the other two who were just watching get up and leave with him, and just leaves the guy who had already folded still at the table. He just goes, fucking ruined it for the rest of us. Just having a good time.
I do want to say something before they leave. I am gonna look towards Aelin and mouth the words, "Do you trust me?"
I'll just like give one, just nod.
Tell you gentlemen what, as they're getting up to leave. I'll admit it was a bit unfair on my part. So, rather than that, let's say we call this bet even. You take your coin and we get something else from you. I think that's something that could work for all of us.
You look at these people who... It was already a large pot for them. Someone who you'd guess would have 3 or 4 gold in their pocket. This pot is already like everything that they'd have, and a third or fourth of their of what they were bringing to gamble tonight. What are you looking for?
I'm a bit newer in town, and I'm trying to find someone that was speaking with me earlier. I'm wondering if you could point me in the direction of... I don't know what she's actually called. I know her name. Becky? Could you help me find that person? She's diminutive, brown hair, pigtails.
You kind of like look back and forth at the other. The kind of two who were just kind of spectating just still keep walking away. The one who is asking what they should do walks away with them, but the wood elf, his kind of dark green eyes kind of looking back at you. Yeah, I think I know where she squats.
Okay. I will reclaim my 3 gold. I'll leave the 16 copper. And whatever Aelin wants to take from that is all well and good. And the dude that's going to assist us, because the other ones ignored us, he can have that money. That's his. And then we'll go find Becky. Unless something else happens and I'm beaten senselessly outside the bar.
How much are you pulling off of the table, Aelin?
I'll take my share. I'll take that. Were we at 16 or did I raise to 21?
You just raised to 21.
Okay,
and
I'll
then,
take my 21 back then.
All right, so your 21 goes back. And with that, a hearty, almost over 5 silver is left on the table worth of copper coins for this half elf to kind of... And he cautiously kind of steps over, kind of eyeing you two. Right, you want me to take you there now then?
I think that's the idea, yeah.
Kind of like looks over his shoulder at his friends, kind of moving up to the bar to grab drinks. Kind of nods to himself. Welcome, blind sister. Sure, fuck it. Let's go. He takes his hands, kind of moves the coin into his palm, and you watch as it disappears into a heavy pocket that his hand just kind of like covers.
I want to insight check him. Why is he so apprehensive?
Sure.
I know nothing. 7.
He's just a dodgy young adult. You know, met someone who's probably put more coin on the table than he's seen in person. And getting asked to do something. He doesn't know what you want with this woman.
He doesn't know I just hustled him.
So, you can follow me, yeah?
You lead the way. And I'll slide off of the chair back onto my sled.
Okay. You all, Yoy and Glaren, you can see this and hear this kind of happen, and you watch as Ophelia slides off into the sled, and you see they seem to be following one of these half-elves as he's leading you outside of the tavern. You're going back out onto the street.
Dragging the sled, I'll holler back at that table and say, "Hey, we've got a lead."
And Glaven will stand up and follow them out.
Yoy will be following behind as well.
You guys all hear it, but Ophelia does say, "May not have any legs, but I still know how to stand on business."
That
And
you
she
do.
chuckles to herself.
And with that, the chuckling leads you and your entourage with a guide now outside to look for this curious halfling woman that sprung you from an odd holding. Whatever she wants with you, you're not sure. And whatever is in store for you next, you're even less sure of. But one thing's for sure. Something odd is happening in the city of Alinar Orin. And let's find out if you have the misfortune of finding out. And that's where we're going to end session 1 of Usapait. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and the absolute, I did not expect for me kind of just last minute stating that we're gonna have a session to get into double digits for the stream. Thank you so much guys for coming and seeing the D&D stream. We will be planning on doing this on the foreseeable Thursdays of the future. And of course, just like normal, thank you so much to these wonderful people who are willing to play and see what strange things I have in store for them. I'm sure it wasn't what you expected immediately out of the gate, but things are ahead, and I can't wait to find out what happens with you together. Once again, I hope you all had a wonderful night. If you enjoyed the stream, make sure to follow. And once I figure out where I'm putting this stream for archival purposes, I will let everyone know at the end of the stream. I will make sure to have all the things ready for my redemptions in the Twitch chat so people aren't scammed by me. But I'll remember to put on shades at the beginning of session next time to make up for it.
If you don't do the recap wearing sunglasses, I'm going to be very upset.
I will do the recap wearing sunglasses. That's a good in between.
How many points does it take for me to send you sunglasses to wear?
Sunglasses. I mean, if you send me sunglasses, I'll just use them as the put on shades.
Very well. You fool.
Oh, I've had worse things sent to me, so it's okay. But
As we're wrapping up, I got one question.
oh, absolutely.
Where's my level?
Wait until you've done something more substantial than swindle young adults of their cash.
Where's my level?
You're playing a Vegas bookie.
I want your coin.
I
and your
will
levels.
say, if I was to give you guys like a percentage of how close you were to your next level, I'd give you a like 55-60% of the way there with what you guys did in this session.
Good.
So you will not be
I need
there.
HP.
I need
and
HP.
legs.
I need HP. But I hope you all had a wonderful time. We're probably going to do a little bit of a debriefing off stream from this. And you guys will never know what we talk about. Ooh. But I had a wonderful time. And I hope everyone here has a wonderful rest of your night. Take care. Bye. See ya.